Have you ever started reading a manhwa, got completely hooked, finished it in a weekend, and then sat there wondering what to read next? And then someone tells you that there are 10 more connected titles in the same universe, with the same characters, the same streets, the same criminal organizations, and that everything you just read only makes complete sense when you read all of them together? That is the PTJ universe. That is what Park Taejun has been quietly building since 2014. And today, we are going through every single title, what it is, what connects it to Lookism, whether it is worth your time, real chapter data, real story analysis, real rankings. No padding, no filler, just the truth about one of the most ambitious shared universes in manhwa history. Stay until the end, because the connection I reveal at the very end of this video, the one hiding inside the current chapters of Lookism right now, is the reason every title on this list suddenly matters more than it ever did before. Let us start with a foundation. Park Taejun, PTJ, began Lookism in 2014 on Naver Webtoon. It hit 1 billion views on the English Webtoon platform in January 2026. As of July 2026, it is at chapter 604, currently updating every Thursday. Chapter 600 dropped on May 2026, a milestone that the community had been counting toward for years. This is not just a popular manhwa. This is one of the longest running, most consistently high-quality action dramas in the medium, and everything else in the PTJ universe grows from this root. The story of Lookism begins with Daniel Park, overweight, bullied, invisible in the worst way. The way where people don't even bother to be cruel to you consistently because you are not worth a sustained effort. He transfers schools. He wakes up in a different body, tall, handsome, the kind of face that makes rooms shift when it walks in. And Daniel, who has been invisible his whole life, suddenly discovers that the world treats him like he matters. Same mind, different body, completely different world. That contrast, which sounds like a comedy setup, becomes the most devastating examination of social hierarchy, physical discrimination, and what it costs to grow up in a world that decides your value by the way you look before you open your mouth. It also becomes, over 600 chapters, one of the most intricately plotted action manhwa ever written. The criminal organizations, the 4 major crews, the workers, the connected characters whose backstories live in the surrounding titles. Lookism is the spine. Everything else is built around it. Here is where the suspense of the PTJ universe begins, and I want you to really hear this. When you are 400 chapters into Lookism, when you have watched Daniel Park grow, when you have met Vin Jin and Gun Park and all the characters who define the story, a quiet man appears. He works as a bodyguard for a wealthy student. He is unremarkable, understated. He says very little, and when he does, it is measured. His name is Manager Kim begins, and the entire shape of the PTJ universe changes in a single chapter. Manager Kim, he was a special forces operative of extraordinary capability who walked away from everything violent and tried to build a life that did not require him to be what he was trained to be. The prequel arcs before Lookism's timeline builds the historical foundation of the criminal organizations that the current Lookism arcs are now Hansu Seong appears in Manager Kim as a Taikian master. Taehoon Seong from Viral Hit is the son of Hansu Seong from Manager Kim. When Taehoon fights, you can recognize his father's techniques and his movement patterns. That bloodline connection is not decorative, it is structural. It means that a fight in Viral Hit carries the weight of a history that Manager Kim told years earlier, and readers who skipped Manager Kim are watching those fights with one eye closed. Viral Hit, also known as How to Fight, began in 2019 and is a title that most of the international community discovered before Lookism. Yu Hobin is a high school student being systematically destroyed by bullies who discovers a YouTube channel teaching practical fighting and decides to start filming his own confrontations to make money. The premise is immediately compelling. The execution across its chapters is consistently excellent. Hobin's progression from terrified boy who could barely throw a punch to someone genuinely dangerous is one of the most satisfying character arcs in the entire PTJ catalog, and its connection to the main Lookism storyline deepens with every arc. Characters from Viral Hit appear in Lookism chapters. The organizations clash. The world is the same world. And knowing Hobin's story, knowing what he went through to become what he becomes, adds an emotional dimension to every crossover moment that readers who only follow Lookism completely miss. My Life as a Loser started in 2019 and follows a 30-year-old sent back in time into the body of his former bully. Park Jin-sung from My Life as a Loser is the same character that appears in Loser Coin. His entire narrative arc explores themes of redemption and escaping his history as a bully. The story is shorter than the essential 3, and its connection to the main Lookism storyline is present but not load-bearing in the way that Manager Kim is. What it adds is emotional texture, a deeper understanding of the generational cycle of bullying and what it takes to break that cycle, which resonates with Lookism's central themes in ways that make rereading certain Lookism chapters feel different afterward. It is not optional in the sense that it adds nothing. It is optional in the sense that the core plot of Lookism does not require it. Read it after the essential 3. Questism launched in 2021 and is the most visually distinctive supporting title in the catalog after Lookism itself. Yohan Seong appears in Questism in ways that expand his character significantly beyond what Lookism has shown of him. The story has been building towards some. PTJ himself in the 2025 Questism epilogue suggested that the characters of Questism would intersect with the main Lookism players in future arcs. As of mid-2026, that crossover has not fully materialized in chapters yet, but the foundation has been laid deliberately. If it resolves and the story moves into what the community is calling the pre-Gen arc, the arc dealing with a generation of fighters before Daniel Park's generation, Questism characters are almost certainly going to become essential rather than supplementary. Tales of Greed arrived in 2020 and is the most honest assessment I can give here. This is the weakest entry in the catalog in terms of both community reception and connection to the main universe. It has its moments, it is not unreadable, but its characters have not crossed over in meaningful ways, and it does not add context that Lookism, Viral Hit, and Manager Kim cannot provide between them. New readers should finish those 3 before considering this one. Experienced readers who want to complete the universe, it is there, but it is the last one you reach for. Judge and Executioner from 2022 and Juvenile Offender from 2023 are the newest entries, and their integration into the wider universe is still developing. Juvenile Offender, in particular, has been gaining genuine traction in 2025 and 2026, with community scores improving steadily as its story finds its footing. Neither is essential reading for the current Lookism arc, but the PTJ universe is not finished growing, and titles that seem peripheral today have a documented history of becoming critical tomorrow. Now, here is the resolution. Here is what all of this was building towards. Lookism hit 1 billion views on the English webtoon platform in January 2026. Chapter 600 dropped on March 26, 2026. The series produced. Every fighter introduced across every PTJ title feeds into the power structure that this is not a story that exists inside Lookism. It is a story that required 10 years and 10 connected titles to build, and the readers who have been in all of it from the beginning are going to experience the conclusion completely differently from those who only read Lookism. Not because they know more characters, because they understand why those characters became what they are. The PTJ universe is not optional reading. It is one long story told across multiple books, and you are somewhere in the middle of it. Start with Lookism, add Viral Hit immediately after, add Manager Kim. Those 3 together are the foundation that everything else requires. Then My Life as a Loser, then Questism, then the rest in whatever order you can find them. And pay attention to every name you hear once. In this universe, Park Taejun has never introduced a character without a reason. Every name is a thread, and the threads are all connected. We will meet in the next video.
私のソウルソサエティ、私の霊圧で機械しろ。